As we age, should we rely on our children or financial independence? The reality of aging, a journey we all must face. Have you ever paused in the quiet of an evening, watching the sun slowly dip beyond the horizon, and thought about how fleeting time really is? One day we are young, full of plans and possibilities, and then, suddenly, or so it feels, we find ourselves standing in a different chapter, a chapter of slower steps, of softer voices, and sometimes of solitude. This is the reality of aging, and no one escapes it. Aging, a universal human experience. From the moment we're born, we begin aging. And yet, for most of our lives, we act as if it's something that happens to someone else, until the day it happens to us. It begins subtly. Your joints ache just a little more. Your memory pauses just a beat longer. People begin offering their seat to you on the bus. You laugh, wave it off. But deep down, you know, you're no longer the youngest person in the room. And that's okay. Aging isn't a curse. It's not a flaw to be fixed. It is, in fact, one of the most natural and beautiful transitions of the human journey. But that doesn't mean it's easy. The silent fears of getting old. As we age, we don't just worry about wrinkles or weaker bones. We worry about relevance. We worry about being forgotten, left behind in a fast-moving world. We worry about losing control, not just over our bodies, but over our choices, our independence, and perhaps most of all, our dignity. For many, the biggest fear isn't death. It's dependence. Who will take care of me? Will I become a burden to my children? Will I need to beg for help? These are the quiet questions so many elderly people ask themselves, often in silence, sometimes even with shame. Eastern versus Western views on aging. In some cultures, particularly in the East, elders are traditionally revered. Aging is seen as a time of wisdom, honor, and spiritual maturity. Children are expected, even duty-bound, to care for their aging parents. But even in those cultures, the winds are changing. Urbanization, the high cost of living, and the breakneck speed of modern life have made the old ways more difficult to maintain. Adult children are working longer hours, raising their own families, moving to cities far from home. And in the West, independence has always been valued over interdependence. The idea of living with one's adult children is often viewed as a sign of failure, on either the parents' or the children's part. So what do we do when tradition and reality no longer align? The emotional price of aging without preparation. Imagine a woman in her late 70s. Her husband has passed away. Her children are grown, with busy lives of their own. Her pension is small, barely enough for rent and food. She doesn't want to bother her children, but the truth is, she needs help. But every time she picks up the phone to ask for a favor, a ride, a few groceries, she hesitates. She worries. Am I asking too much? Are they annoyed? Will they start avoiding me? This is the emotional price of aging without financial or personal preparation. And it's not just about money. It's about pride, about dignity, about the deep human desire to feel in control of one's life, even in its final decades. The gift of perspective. Aging gives us something that youth never could: perspective. We begin to understand what matters most, not the titles, not the houses or the cars, but health, peace, kindness, and self-respect. But perspective isn't enough if we don't pair it with preparation. You see, aging is a journey, and like any journey, it requires planning. If we walk into our elder years blindly, hoping someone else will catch us when we fall, we may be met with silence. But if we step into those years with foresight, with a gentle plan, with some savings, and a strong mindset, then aging can be not just a challenge, but a triumph. What this series is about, this video, and the series that follows, is not just about finances or family, it's about philosophy, about how to live with grace and age with dignity. It's about how to prepare, not just our wallets, but our hearts and minds. Because the truth is, we all grow old. The only question is, how will we face it? Will we drift into dependence, or will we sail toward independence? Will we become a quiet burden, or an elder filled with wisdom, calm, and self-possession? The answer, perhaps, begins with how we see aging not as an end, but as the most reflective, most profound chapter of life, the power of financial independence. Freedom in the final chapter. There's a quiet confidence in people who know they can take care of themselves. They speak a little slower. They move with purpose. Their smiles come not from needing anything, but from choosing everything. That's the power of financial independence in old age. It's not about being rich. It's about being free. Why financial freedom matters more with age. When you're young, financial freedom feels like a luxury, a dream, something to chase while juggling rent, student loans, and credit card debt. But in old age, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a shield, a safeguard, a silent promise that even when your body grows weaker, your choices stay strong. Why? Because money, at its core, is more than numbers. It's permission. Permission to say no when you're tired. Permission to live where you want, not where you must. Permission to be helped, without begging. When you're financially independent, you can afford privacy, safety, and dignity. 3 things that become increasingly sacred with age. The little things that mean everything. Imagine this. You're 75. You wake up and feel unwell. It's nothing urgent, but you'd like to see a doctor. Your doctor, not whoever is available at the public clinic. You call a private service, schedule a visit the same day, and get the care you need. Why? Because you can pay for it. Or maybe it's a small craving, fresh flowers for your kitchen table, or a new pair of soft walking shoes. You don't need to ask your child to buy it for you. You don't have to explain your choices to anyone. You just get it. That's not selfish. That's freedom. And freedom, in old age, is not just sweet. It's sacred. Stories from the quietly prepared. Let's meet Mr. Ann, a retired teacher. He wasn't wealthy, but he lived simply. Saved consistently, invested modestly. When he turned 68, he moved to a small coastal town, bought a 1-bedroom home with a view of the sea, and began painting again. His first love. He doesn't rely on his children. They visit often, not out of obligation, but out of love. His financial independence allows him to maintain not just his life, but his relationships. I want my children to come because they miss me, he says, not because they feel they must care for me. His independence is not just financial, it's emotional. That's the quiet gift of preparation, when money preserves dignity. There's a dignity that comes from being able to hire someone to help with groceries, instead of waiting for your daughter to find time. A dignity in being able to fix your heater when it breaks, instead of enduring cold for weeks. A dignity in choosing your own care home if needed, one that fits your values, your comforts, your lifestyle. It's not about extravagance, it's about choice. And the ability to choose, especially when you're old, is the ultimate proof of freedom. But isn't family supposed to help? Yes, family is love, and love involves care, sacrifice, time. But there is a difference between being cared for and being dependent. When help is offered from love, it feels like warmth. When help is required out of need, it can feel like weight. Financial independence gives your family the chance to love you freely, not resentfully. It removes the guilt. It removes the stress. And most importantly, it protects the relationship. A financially dependent parent may unintentionally become controlling, critical, or fearful. But one who feels secure financially tends to be more relaxed, more open, and more grateful. So if you love your children, really love them, prepare yourself financially, not so you won't need them, but so they won't carry more than they should. Common excuses and gentle responses. You might say, "It's too late for me to build financial independence," but it's never too late to start small. A part-time job, downsizing your home, cutting unnecessary spending. Each act is a step toward peace. My children owe me. I raised them. Yes, you gave your life to them, but love is not a transaction. The moment we demand repayment, we turn family into obligation. Is that really what you want? Money isn't everything. True, but in old age, money helps preserve what is everything. Your health, your time, your relationships, what financial independence looks like in practice. It's waking up and knowing your bills are paid. It's budgeting for a rainy day and a sunny one. It's buying birthday gifts for your grandchildren because you want to, not because you hope they'll remember you. The emotional security of financial readiness. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does reduce stress. It allows you to sleep better, eat better, live better, and most importantly, it allows you to say yes to life. Even when your body says slow down, investing in your future self. Your younger self worked so hard to survive. Don't let that effort be in vain. Take care of your future self as if you were caring for someone you love, because you are. Save, invest, prepare. Not just for wealth, but for peace. Next video. In the next part, we explore the other side of the coin. What happens when we rely on our children for everything? The love is still there, but so are the risks. Let's talk about the emotional toll that often hides behind duty, and why financial dependence can silently destroy the very relationships we want to protect. Thanks for watching. Continue. Next video.